Hi, this is Justin from Bathbricks. Thought it was about time that we showed you some of our sculptures that we've built over the last couple of years and see what we've produced up to now. So this is one of our first sculptures that we produced about 5 years ago of a polar bear, as you can see, for the Christmas season. This was based on some 3D data that I purchased online and then compiled the data to produce the instructions that can be bought online. Over 100 copies of this has been sold online so far, and has become a real popular model throughout the world. It's certainly one of my favourites, and when people come to see our displays over the Christmas period, it's certainly one of their favourites as well. Hope you enjoy it. Let's rotate the model. As you can see, it's fully 3D. The legs in a full sort of motion, demonstrating movement. But unfortunately, due to the age of the model, the bricks are starting to discolour and going yellow, so we'll have to build another one next year, I think. But certainly one of my favourites anyway. Thanks. This was the next sculpture that we produced, again for Christmas obviously. Really big sculpture this time, 9,000 to 10,000 bricks in total, not including the sort of honeycomb structure that I build within to make sure it's structurally sound. But again, built with some 3D data that I manipulated with 3D software, and then sliced it into the layers for each layer to be built, and then colorized within the software that I use. Big build, took I think it's like 3 months to build it, and probably another 3 months to actually design it initially. But certainly the children's favourites, and all their friends seem to love him when we bring him out every year. As you can see, it's fully 3D throughout the model. Even the back of the hat is built, and he weighs in at about I think about 11 kilograms. But real fun model. Unfortunately, I've not made the instructions available for sale because the sheer complexity and cost of the build. I think if you were to build this model with bricks directly from Lego, which I didn't, I used Bricklink, you'd be probably talking about £700 or £800 at least. But real fun model, and certainly one of our favourites again. Okay, so this is another Christmas themed model. Obviously this time it's the Nativity, Mary and Joseph, designed sort of freehand really on trying to get the shape right of the models within the software I was currently using at the time, about 4 years ago. Basically solid structure of each of the figures, really just as a centerpiece of a display in our home on that year, and has come out every year since. So again, 3D throughout, kind of a good rendition of the figures, as you all know. And again, it's been quite a popular product within my line of instructions that are available online, and I think I've sold about 40 in the last 4 years, so quite a good model, and certainly everybody likes them when they're on display. I don't think this sculpture needs much of an introduction really. It's a 3/4 scale model of a Labrador dog, based on 3D data again procured online, of which I then sliced the model into the appropriate dimensions to get the layers of bricks, and then subsequently assign the bricks to each layer. Again, I've used a honeycomb structure within to keep its strength up, using 2x8 bricks in a crisscross formation, and I think from memory it's between 5,000 and 6,000 bricks overall. Again, really it was just a sculpture designed to be put into our house really. The family wanted a real dog. We're not in a position to have a real dog at the moment, so I thought, why not, let's just build a Lego dog to sit in the living room there, as a bit of a centerpiece to the room. Everybody likes it, and again, I've put the instructions online, and in the last 2 years I think I've sold just over 100 of these instruction booklets. But again, one of our real favourites, and a real popular model with everybody who sees it. Now, this is one of our latest sculptures that we designed at the end of 2019, of a meerkat. Now, it's double scale to the real thing, just because a meerkat's only so big and it's not quite big enough for what we wanted to do. Originally it was going to be one colour, but due to availability of bricks at that point of time, I had to go with 2 different shades, which is okay, but it's not exactly what I wanted to do. But it's certainly something to bear in mind when you're planning a build and wanting to procure bricks off of somewhere like Bricklink or eBay or something like that, that some of the bricks may not be available. Slightly smaller build to what we're used to doing, pretty much solid, probably just over 1,000 bricks, but just a bit of fun really. Again, full 3D throughout the model, and the models can be self-standing, doesn't have to be on a base plate, because the tail supports. But again, a little bit of fun. You know, the children love the meerkats at the zoo, so I thought, well, why not? Let's build one with Lego in the house. This was an experimental sculpture really, in the early days of our builds, probably about 7 years ago, in which I was playing around with the idea of building models purely with the plate bricks rather than the normal size fat bricks. So each of these layers, of which is 179 I think from memory, we built actual plates rather than bricks, with the exception of a few at the bottom there. Proved a little bit of a tricky build. All in all, the project took a year to build, with over 10,000 plates being used in the build, but it did get quite a good effect with the layers of the Venus de Milo sculpture. Again, I used online data that's freely available to design the sculpture, and this sculpture comes out approximately half the size of the real thing in the Louvre in Paris. Quite a popular model. I haven't made the instructions available online really, to be honest, because it's such a laborious build to do, but it was just an experiment just to see what could be done, and I've certainly learned from my mistakes in the past year, but nevertheless we keep the sculpture in the house, and it's part of the decor in one of our bedrooms upstairs. Incidentally, I put it forward into a local agricultural show's sculpture competition, and it won first prize, which was a great start to my Lego career. But hope you like it. Anyway, cheers. Right, I can't claim any credit for this build of Mario Nintendo character. It was 8 years ago now. I can't remember the guy's name, but there was a guy online that started to post photographs of this model. I managed to get hold of him, and he kindly sold me a copy of, weren't true instructions, they were just a demonstration of what each layer, how each layer was coloured, and didn't distinguish between the bricks or the internal structure. So I very much used it as a first testbed and experimental model to see how to build a Lego sculpture. So basically I had to just wing it and just buy and beg and steal bricks from where I could to build the model, and it ended up being about a 3-month build, but it wasn't too tricky really, but I really did learn a lot from building this. This incidentally was just after I built this model, which is a standard Lego minifigure sculpture, and I was able to download the instructions online and build it from scratch, using a lot of my old bricks from my old Lego set from when I was a kid. But basically these were the first 2 models I did 8 years ago, and they both now live in my children's bedroom upstairs, and certainly when their friends come round, it's a really popular model. I have noticed recently actually this exact same model is now available online on eBay and numerous other platforms for sale in full built status. But again, I can't give the credit to who actually designed it, because I can't remember his name. I do know from memory he actually scanned a small miniature 3D model of Mario with lasers or something, and then put it into computer-aided design software, and then subsequently then sliced the model to give you the outline of each layer and the coloration of each brick. But a real fun build, and I'd certainly recommend it if you want to build one. There you are. Right, last but not least, this is my reindeer sculpture I built a couple of years ago, again for the Christmas holiday period, using a 3D scan of a real reindeer, which again I managed to download offline. It's certainly a popular model. I used to sell the instructions, but the instructions proved very tricky to follow, as they weren't in the usual Lego format of what you would expect. So I've since stopped selling those, except for when people really want to build a model. But certainly quite good fun. I even made a little red nose that goes on the nose at Christmas time, so it becomes Rudolph. Yeah, real good build, but tricky nonetheless. I've got to admit I had to use glue on the antlers, certainly at the base, to make them stay where they were, and I also had to build a fully sort of structural internal support, so a nail or screw, if you like, could be attached to the wall firstly and then slotted into the bricks behind. But all good fun. But there we are, that's the majority of our sculptures we've got today. Plenty more on the drawing board for the next year in 2020, and I hope to speak to you soon. Thank you very much. Cheers for now.